Boys, welcome back. Undergrowth TV, round 4 coming up, but we're going to review some crap that went on in round 3. Cheers.
Cheers, all of us. Is this a beer sponsor or no?
No, homebrew again, but you could have your beer on there somewhere.
Sounds like you might have been on a few homebrews lately, mate. What's the go with the voice?
The voice. I sang a couple of songs for Dad's band up in Lennox Head. We went up there for the Shake It Up Foundation, charity that supports Parkinson's disease. And yeah, Dad played a gig and I got up and sang the last 2 songs and I just screamed them. And you're supposed to warm up and I never have. I always sing from my throat. You're supposed to sing from your stomach.
You belted it out though, it was good.
I did belt it out, but
Who invited you up anyway?
No one really. I just took the mic and thought it was my time.
You probably had 50% of your talent on the football field. How did he go in the music stakes, mate? Is he sort of similarly impaired? Or?
No, he goes all right. Actually.
50%, geez, that would have seen me play a little bit more rep footy if I had that much. But no, it was good fun. It was a packed pub, and someone should have told me I wasn't at Wembley Stadium, and I was just in a small pub playing because I was up on chairs and all kinds of things. It was good fun, though. Good response.
It was great.
You were at the F1 on the weekend, mate. What about that crash? How hectic was that?
It was. We look at some of these league incidents and think, they're pretty sickening blows. But Fernando Alonso rolled, hit a fence, 290 k's.
And he walked out
unscathed. He was sitting there with a newspaper saying "luckiest man alive,"
and he's reading the gossip column.
Unbelievable, those things, mate. They must be so safe, and we get some of those advantages down to our road cars eventually. So that technology does get passed on.
That's a very good point. It looks like the head's kind of protruding out from the perimeter of the car. It looks like it could, it just never does that.
A little roll cage over the back protects their head.
They're totally tied in, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. You can hardly move. But why weren't you down there, mate? I was seeing all the celebrities down there and people in their black ties in the Qantas lounge and tents, and I thought, where's Eric? He hangs out with hang out with the celebrities, Jack Black's your mate, and
hang out with them. Yeah,
all these other people. I thought, well, why aren't you there? I was looking for a ticket to try and get into some of these
mate, look,
dues.
when you interview celebrities, you don't really get too many favours, but that's all I pretty much do is annoy them with shit questions. So I don't get those invites. But
I'll make sure you get an invite next year, mate.
Yeah, get me down there.
It'll be a much better event if you're there.
What about?
You're big in Melbourne, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yep, sweet.
Right, so what's going on in the world of rugby league? We've got a couple of issues to talk about, on Undergrowth TV, exclusives.
Well, I think the first thing is the match review committee's just came out with its charges from the Sea Eagles versus Cronulla game. And Martin Taupau, it was a pretty big hit. We all saw it. It left Jack Burke concussed, a swinging arm after he let go of the ball. And he was falling, which made it, a little bit better. But I was thinking about 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Absolutely. I was surprised he didn't get sent off. But anyway, they've come out, they've called it a careless high tackle. Carries a base point of 125, which is 1 week. He fights it, it gets downgraded a little bit, but he'll still be looking at a week. Guilty 150. But, a bloke was going to get 3 weeks for touching a referee. Here's Martin Taupau whacking a bloke in the head after he's dropped the ball, and I believe he had plenty of time to pull out. He's getting a week. I don't think it was careless. It was reckless.
1 week, I feel like that's a good punishment. I honestly feel like Jack Bird was falling and trying to regather the ball. Marty Taupau already committed, going in aggressive. He's an aggressive style player. I know he might have a bad track record and has a bit of thuggery in his game, but I really feel like this one, being case sensitive, I think a week's plenty. It was definitely a good whack across the chop, so he's got punished, move on.
The hardest thing to do is when you plant your feet, and he had both his feet planted and his body was forward, it's hard to come out of that. And when you watch it on slow motion, it looks like he might have had a bit of time to get out of it. But, the head was at the right spot because he slipped and the hand was cocked, but to get out of that momentum is very hard to do.
A footballer's mentality when they're fumbling and falling forward is to just whack. You don't think, I'll wait to see if he gets the ball. So he was kind of committed. It was reckless, which is why I got the week.
I think if he even kept the ball and was holding on to it and got hit like that, I think you should have been looking at more.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have been falling down.
It was a swinging arm, Eric. You don't get taught to tackle with a swinging arm.
Yeah, definitely. But the fact that there was momentum going downwards, he was coming in from up and under. I feel like if Jack wasn't dropping the ball, he would have been upright and that swinging arm would have hit him across the chest maybe. So I see your point. It was careless. And also a good point you raised before we started filming was how his track record's a little bit...
Well, it's funny, he doesn't really have a track record. He got 3 weeks for a high shot, a swinging arm on James Maloney last week, and he escaped a shoulder charge ban earlier this year. But aside from that, he's pretty clean. But what we do see on the field from him is a hell of a lot of aggression. We see a lot of silly stuff like, patting blokes on the head when they're down, and he's always in the middle of a melee. He seems like a real loose cannon. What do you think about that? I mean, should that be part of his game? Is it part of his game?
No, well, I think it's got a fair bit to do with maturity, as Eric was saying. That once he, how old is he? 24, 25?
Still relatively young in footy terms.
Once you get in the late 20s and that, he'll mature, and he won't worry about that sort of stuff that comes out. But he probably needs a bit more of a mentor out there.
I agree. I think he started with the Bulldogs when they had a lot of senior players there, a lot of rip and tears. You've got your James Grahams and your young Clemmers coming through. He competed with all of that, and I think he decided he had to be an animal. That was the way to play. He moved over to West Tigers, where last year they had a woeful pack. I mean, he was the leader. He's gone in there in a senior role. He's got no one to pull him up. He's come to Manly, and it's probably a similar thing. They're one of the weakest packs in the comp at the moment, and they do have a senior bloke in Nate Miles, but Nate's not the sort of aggressive mould of player that Marty's going to be. So I think he needs a Marco Mealy or a Spud Carroll giving him a bit of advice on how to use that aggression, when to use it, and how to curb him. And I think that's great.
It's
Mark Carroll's going to tell him how to use it, and Marco Mealy, the two marks.
I think if you're playing the forwards, it's a fine line between mistake and doing the right thing.
Who would you recommend for a mentor for him out Manly way? Any of the old boys you knocked around with?
It's pretty hard for a forward to be a mentor for a forward. Someone like Chief Harrigan.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd be that sort of a style. Yeah, where
even Steve Menzies, someone from the club that could just speak to him about, because he used to whack people too, Steve Menzies, but it was all clean. I guess if you can speak to him about, trying to fast forward that maturity in terms of knowing when to let the gun go and when not to. But a lot of it too comes from frustration. I remember when I wasn't playing good footy, which was often, don't laugh because it's true, mate. You're playing reserve grade or your team's losing and some shit creeps into your game because you're playing frustrated, and they haven't had the best start of the year. And after the start in NRL that he had, where he just come onto the scene and was just ripping and tearing, when that gets taken away after a couple of years, people working you out, you start getting frustrated. It's a bit like Hopewadi used to as well. I did it myself. You do some little shit things that when you get older, you realise, come on, stop being a dickhead. But mate, I love him. I love watching him play. And for me, that fine line, like you said, that stepping on that edge of being too aggressive or not, it's good to watch.
Because when he's playing like that, he's creating that situation for himself where players will have a niggle at him.
Yeah, exactly.
Players, so that he'd have a lot of things in his head before he...
I love his aggression, but it needs to be controlled, it needs to be measured. There's a lot that needs to be cut out, and I think he was very lucky here because of what he carries on with the field. I thought he was going to get slugged.
Yep.
I thought his reputation would go before him and he'd cop it. He hasn't. Is it right? I don't think so. I think he should have got a few more weeks. I mean, Brenton Lawrence has copped the same penalty for a high shot of Michael Ennis that no one even saw, no one talked about. But anyway, it's a week. We'll move on.
What do we got next?
Daly Cherry-Evans. What do we think, boys? We had a back page in the Daily Telegraph last week which said missing, wanted. No one's seen this man. Can anyone return him to the northern beaches?
Unfair.
How do you think he went in the last two rounds, the first two rounds?
Well, the whole team, they were all trying to, feel each other out, and it didn't seem like they had anything together. So to just put the blame solely on him is a little bit rich for mine. It's just obviously a team game.
They got beat pretty comprehensively both games. And the forwards weren't going well, so obviously it affects how he plays the game.
Were you going to be a target when you're on $1 million a year? The contract saga which happened last year, is he going? Is he not? And he's obviously stayed at the club, and I think he had a press conference which really tipped a few people off. He was really smug and arrogant and probably didn't address any of the issues that happened. But the simple facts were, in those first two games, he had 7 runs in the first game, only 4 against the West Tigers. 22 metres he made, which is well down on what he usually does. But anyway, last night he's hit back. He's had 10 runs, which is more than double. He's made 60 metres, which is triple, and he's doubled his tackle count to 38. So obviously this back page has had a bit of an effect on him because he's come back and doubled his efforts. You can see that here in the stats. He was still off what he usually is. And maybe that's a little bit of missing Kieran, do you think?
Possibly. It could be a number of factors, really.
The dynamics are different for him this year, definitely.
Depending on what's happening around you as well. They can't expect him. That old cliche, the forwards laid the platform for the backs to work. It's so true, and that's why it keeps being said, and that's why it's a cliche, is because if the forwards aren't killing it, there's no broken play for these halves to work their magic. If they're presented with a brick wall of defence, no man on earth can get through it. So it's a team thing, but it was really good to see him, kick off last night's game with a good.
What
amount
I
of
find
work.
interesting about this is we've always had Daly Cherry-Evans and Kieran Foran together, and they've both been brilliant. We've watched them evolve throughout their careers. Now they're separated. We get to see what they're like without each other. Maybe one was a little bit more reliant on the other. And I wanted to put the question to you guys: do you think that Parra got the good end of the stick getting Kieran Foran? Is Kieran Foran the better player?
I think Kieran suits Parra. Parra needed a Kieran Foran more so. With Corey Norman's that flash kind of, flashy, flamboyant type play. And I think it really works well when you've got a blue collar, honest, hard-working half as well as a flamboyant, flashy half.
But Kieran's half at Parramatta. If it was 5'8" at Parramatta, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, possibly.
Different dynamics again.
Possibly, but yeah.
Who's the better player?
It's different players.
They are different dynamics.
Completely
Who would you rather
different.
Personally, well, it depends on. I keep coming up with this word dynamics. The Parramatta's dynamics are different than Manly's dynamics, so whether you'd have them in different positions in different teams is a...
Yeah, having Parramatta's roster, I'd have Kieran Foran, which is the choice they went with.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
then maybe with another team, you'd have Daly Cherry-Evans. But they've been apart as well in rep footy as well, and he's done
Who would you have?
couple
Who's
of
the
good
better
things.
player?
Mate, I'll sit on the fence like you two are. You obviously can't give me an answer. So what
You put us on the
answer
spot.
from
I
me?
see both of these blokes. I don't want to favour one or the other, and they'll be filthy with me.
No, I think we'll see the best of Cherry-Evans. I think his forward pack obviously hasn't been going great. I mean, that was their big problem last year, and he was still outstanding with a very weak forward pack. Willie Mason, a veteran, was leading the way with a young Trbojevic, the rookie. He was like 20, and he did well. And their forward pack's not much better. We've got Taupau, obviously. We've got Miles. They'll help him. But the big thing is he's carrying Dylan Walker. I think Dylan Walker's not a 5'8", and he's got to do everything. And he is missing Kieran. He'll adjust. And but yeah, just this effort thing, we can see that he's actually done.
Yeah,
major
and it
makes a
goes
lot
to
of
show. Look at the result when Daly Cherry-Evans is sniffing around and more involved.
Well,
and
when your team wins, it's going to be different stats.
there's so many dynamics, as you said, in a game of footy. How you
Use my
feel?
word. Dynamic is my word.
That's your word, is it?
Yeah.
All right, moving on. What do we got next?
The CEO, Todd Greenberg, appointed. Thoughts? I mean, we went to this 6 months recruitment campaign. I think they spent about $200,000 on an exhaustive process where every candidate would be examined, and we were going to look at everyone from every aspect of the international business world. We end up with a bloke that was sitting in the room the whole time.
Backyard, yeah.
Did we waste $200,000 going on this search and looking when it was pretty evident that Todd Greenberg was going to get the job?
Absolutely. Waste of money, because he should have been the first one that was thought of, even before Dave Smith.
Yeah, I
He
don't
should have
know.
been the man.
You're going to always, a lot of the money and part of the process is in the research, so you don't see that as a loss of money. It's finding out the end result, which Todd Greenberg, to me, it was a bit right in front of their faces. He's always seemed like the guy who speaks better than anyone else when there's a big issue in rugby league, and I think he's got that cool, calm head to be able to handle those situations and not get too emotional either way, and just give you the facts and not bullshit people and move on. So I actually like the appointment. What about yourself?
I like the appointment, but I have a bit of a problem with the way it's been handled. I think you use the word bullshit. I think we've been bullshitted to a bit along the way, because I spoke to people that were actually interviewed from outside of the NRL world, and they immediately walked out of the interview when they found out that the job was paying around $1 million. So for a top-level CEO in the outside world, they're on anything up to $10 million. Now, $4 or $5 million you're looking at for the AFL job, 3, 4 for the cricket job. They've ruled out everyone outside of rugby league as soon as they put that price tag on the job. So it was evident that they wanted Todd from the start. It was only going to come from internal with the wage they were offering. So why did we go through this whole process and charade when it was obvious that they'd ruled everyone out with just the income, the wage that they put in front of them. So I think it was always going to go to Todd or someone within the game.
What's the wage? 200K?
$1 million.
Oh, $1 million.
Yeah,
What are you saying? 200K spent on
on the recruitment process, hiring these firms that go out and look at, your recruitment process and look over resumes and interview.
Well, he was always there. He was always when it first came up that they needed to put someone else there. Everyone was saying Greenberg.
I'll have a crack at it for $1 million.
Yeah,
it'll go to shit in a couple of weeks, but
I think
it'd be fun. It'd be fun.
Do an okay job. And I've got a photo. Hopefully, we can bring it up on the screen now. But this came in my little feed the other day, and I think it's a ripper. Mate, what's going on here? Can you explain? I can see Jack Gibson, the super coach, and Sterlo sitting there with his feet up, and you look like you're...
It's on the bus, eh?
I don't know who you're looking at, mate. You're looking over...
I was paying attention to Jack Gibson, obviously.
Oh, yeah, I bet you were. You would have been thinking of a donkey asleep under a tree or something weird like that.
Can you tell me a little bit about this bus? What's going on?
Well, Jack bought the bus. We first thought that the bus was going to take us on trips away or whatever, or to the local pub, but no, it was the bus was just sitting there. It didn't work. Mechanically, it was just not working. And that was our meeting room. That's we'd gather in on a Tuesday night and have our meetings for about.
Oh, the bus didn't even work.
No. So it's just a room for us to meet. It was a great idea. I mean,
cool.
we were at Granville. We weren't at Parramatta Stadium because it was getting rebuilt.
Oh, yeah, so you didn't have
so we needed, and there was only some little sheds there, and he came up with the idea of putting it like that.
Have you been to some of the meeting rooms now at the NRL clubs? If you go to the Bulldogs, they've got a full lounge room, barbecue, Xboxes. I mean, what would they make of this?
We had nothing. We had a barbecue after that sometimes. That was about it outside.
The old barbecue committee at Para, some of them still kicking the legends.
Yep, absolutely.
Saturday barbecues at Para they used to have, eh?
Oh, great days.
Bloody oath. We used to
I
go
buggered it up on the weekends if you had to play a game.
So would you put them back in a bus and get rid of the Xboxes if you were in charge of a club?
Well, yeah. I mean, let's save money.
Save money.
I should be
bit of
CEO
camaraderie.
of the NRL, yeah.
You can't. Sometimes you replace all this stuff with slick new furniture and it looks too corporate, and keep it a bit rough and rugby league, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's part of
I think the Warriors might need a bus like that, mate. They're going like bustards, maybe bus to nowhere.
Yeah, far out. Geez, they've got to get off the mark with a win. I hope. Well,
they weren't far from it on the weekend.
Yeah, well, this weekend they've got a home game against the Knights, isn't it?
Yeah, that's surely 2 points, isn't it?
You'd think so, but geez, rugby league's a funny game.
How were your tips, by the way?
Oh, it was 10 out of 10, whatever. Number there's 10
At the
games.
moment, the tally is I'm on 125 and Eric's on 16.
How many did you get on the weekend?
I got 6.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
You must know nothing about rugby league.
You just made that up. There we go. Guys, don't forget too, M29 Creative, they did these logos. See these logos here? James ducks his scone. These logos, it comes back straight away. Mike Morfitt from M29 Creative, I sent him some details and bang, he sent that back and I was like, that's it.
What about these things? They look like dead set screws.
They do, don't they? They get rusty if they get wet, so be careful. But no, if you want your logos done for your branding, your logos, your business, M29 Creative, find them on Facebook. M for Mary, 29 the number, Creative. Mike Morfitt's the man.
Where are they situated at, geographically?
I don't know. It's all, I speak to him digitally, so he could be anywhere in the world. No, he's Australian. He's in Sydney, so yeah, suss him out.
I want to know when your next gig is, mate. I'm pretty disappointed I missed out on this one. I want to see him build out a few. Have you got something coming up?
Yeah, we've got the Cronulla RSL, I think it is.
No, Cronulla, Club Cronulla it's called.
Cronulla.
It's a bowls club at Cronulla, near the cop station, if you know where Cronulla is.
I should know where that is because we've played there a few times, but anyway.
Yep.
So that's on the 2nd of next month.
Fantastic. I'll count me in.
Yeah, come down, have a few beers and I'll belt out a couple of songs.
That'd be a bit rusty.
No, you'll be right.
There you go, guys. Undergrowth TV for round 4. Thanks for coming in, mate. You've brung the goods again. And Dad, you're all right as usual.
Thanks, mate. Look after your voice, eh?
Yeah.
I will. Thanks very much. And hopefully one day I can have more than 50% of your talent.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.